Hello, everyone. This is Regina Sun, and welcome to today's Legal Moment. Today's topic is on the Federal Communications Commission, which will be called FCC during the segment for short. And they, along with network televisions, are headed to the Supreme Court to determine whether or not the FCC's practices on censorship is outdated. And to give you a brief context of what the issues are, the code as it stands right now states that whoever utters any obscene, indecent, profane language by means of radio communications should be fined under the Act or imprisoned for not more than 2 years or both. So it essentially enables the FCC to exercise its authority to regulate speech that it deems obscene or indecent and fine whoever the party is that is engaging in such speech or put them in prison for 2 years. Now, the issue particularly in the Supreme Court is this word indecent. And so far, the Commission has defined it as language that describes in terms patently offensive as measured by contemporary community standards for the broadcast medium, sexual or excretory activities and organs at times of day when there is a reasonable risk that children may be the audience. So here we're really particularly talking about cable television, not as much so like the MTV or the BETs, but the ABC and the CBS. And a couple examples that came up in the court was the 2003 Golden Globe Awards, where a YouTube band member exclaims upon receiving an award, "This is really, really effing brilliant, really, really great." And then there was another incident where the F word was used at the 2002 Billboard Awards by Nicole Richie, and both networks were fined for the explicit language. And what these networks are saying is, look, it's one thing when you had back in the 70s, you had this radio personality who said the F word about 20-something times. We understand that. But a one-time incident, you cannot deem to be indecent and therefore subject to the fines. And because you're doing this, you're forcing us to censor a lot of speech and a lot of events that are going on today, because today's times, it's much more different than back in the 70s. So today I have here with me Jamie Patrice, and she is a social worker up in Nashville. Jamie, first of all, do you think children are impressionable when it comes to explicit, profane language?
Absolutely, I do.
And why so? I mean, how are they impressionable, and why do you think they are?
I feel like they're impressionable because what they see, what they hear, what they're being exposed to plays a part on their development, plays a part on, how they're interacting with other people, what they feel like is appropriate. And, it just, if everything is, cuss words and being exposed to, explicit language and, sexual innuendos, that's how they're going to know.
So then do you side more so with the FCC that, look, it's okay for us to be conservative because they're impressionable, or do you side more so with the networks that are saying it's a different time, they already know these words, we're not doing anything that they're not already positionally or in their state of mind there?
I do feel like, I agree with both sides. It is what they're going to be exposed to in schools or anywhere else, but I do feel like the standard needs to remain the same. That, on a ABC, CBS, NBC, we don't need to see that. We do need to hold that to a higher standard.
So some of these examples, when the person got on the stage, accepted his award, and said the F word, do you think it was fair that the FCC fined them for that action?
I do. Those were the rules. That's what's in place. Those are the rules, and I think that they were right in that fine.
And one thing that I really do find interesting is this argument that the times have changed. First of all, do you agree that we are in different times and children are, I guess, different than they were back in the 70s?
I do agree that times have changed. Everything is totally different now.
But do you think, because, different, everything is different, but kids are still kids. The same kids in the 70s are the same impressionable kids that are now. So do you think that is, I guess, justifiable to say that we need to change the standards to go along with the times?
The times are different. Kids, the same behaviors that happened then are probably happening now. I mean, behaviors don't change, but I still think, I'm 29 years old. I don't want to see that. I know where I can go see it if I want to. And I don't think that if I'm not a parent, but I feel like if I have a child with me, I don't want them to be exposed to it either. I'm not using that language. If I choose to, I'm going to be the responsible person and not use it in front of that child. So I don't want them to be sitting with me watching a TV show at 7 p.m. and them to have to hear that.
One other thing that some of these networks are saying is, look, when you had Saving Private Ryan, they were cursing, they were using all kinds of explicit and inappropriate language, but you didn't censor them because you felt as if the overall message in the historical time spoke a little bit louder than the explicit words. But if the rule is you can't say this, then why is it that it's okay for one audience and okay for another? And I guess my question to you is, first of all, should context matter? And secondly, should it really be a one set rule, or should it be up to the FCC to use their discretion?
The rules don't need to be bent for one show or another. The rules need to remain the same. It needs to be consistent. So I don't agree. I think that the fine or whatever should have taken place with the Saving Private Ryan example that you just gave. I don't remember your other question.
Well, do you think FCC should be given discretion to utilize their powers to fine someone, or should they just stick to, look, they messed up by this book and not use this context of the situation?
You shouldn't pick and choose. No, they should stick to it. If Nicole Richie said the F-bomb and then they turned around and said it on Saving Private Ryan, both people should be fine. So consistency is what's important, I think.
And for a lot of listeners that are saying, well, our children need to be exposed to these types of things, because when they go on the real world, if they're not exposed to it, then they're not able to handle it, or they're not ready for some of the challenges that they may face. I mean, what do you say to those parents who are essentially claiming that, look, the real world is this, and I want to expose my child to the real world, and not shelter them so that they're inequipped to handle the real world?
I mean, that's their responsibility to equip their child for the real world. You can't say, yes, they should be able to watch, Nicole Richie say the B word or the F word, and we'll take it from there. No, you take responsibility, for whatever is on TV, whatever time, and go from there. You cannot, I don't think that's justifiable.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for coming in and speaking with me today. And for listeners, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think the FCC is outdated in their policies and practices, or do you think that they should remain and able to use what it is that is in place now and enacting their policies and practices in terms of censorship? Tweet me at Regina_Sun, and I look forward to hearing what you think. Thanks for listening, and that is today's Legal Moment.